Joining me today is a true relationship-first guy, Scott Rego. He's built his business on trust, strong communication, and first-class service. But what really stands out is how he connects with people. Work with Scott for about 5 minutes, and you'll feel like you've known him forever, maybe even like you're part of the family. Before real estate, he spent years with the 76ers, so he knows what it takes to be part of a great team and perform under high pressure. At the end of the day, he's a dedicated family man. He brings the same care to every client. Let's welcome my dear friend, Scott Rego. All right, I'm thrilled today to have Scott Rego with us, one of the great guys in my life in real estate, awesome member of the team. Scott, thanks so much for taking the time out to sit down with us today.
No, happy to finally be here with you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, long time coming for sure. We start with everyone the same way. Origin story, a little bit about what you were doing before you got into real estate. For you, you have one of the more unique paths of anyone on the team. You had a very, very cool job that I think a lot of people find interesting before real estate. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about what you did for a very long time before you get into real estate, how we met and that sort of that transition in, and then some of the carryover skills from your previous life to this one.
Sure. So in my previous life, when it was finished, I was the senior director of equipment operations for the Philadelphia 76ers. I started with them in the mid 80s, around 86, 87, somewhere around 87, I think, and up until 2021. So during that point, I basically started out as a ball boy, worked my way up in the locker room. I grew up in the locker room with the 76ers. You name them, I was there for them, from Charles Barkley to Rick Mahorn to Allen Iverson to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey now. So a lot of what I did was provide what I felt was elite service to players, coaches, and the sports executives that came through. I worked for 3 different ownerships. I worked for 15 different head coaches and 11 different general managers. So I was obviously doing something right for a period of time to stay there that long. A lot of that service was to be available. The best ability is availability, right? So always had to be available for the players, the coaches, the executives. Whenever they needed something, the phone would ring. I would be there for whatever, answer the questions, solve the problems, keep a lot of things confidential. And a lot of that is carryover into real estate. As you and I met, we talked about what some of my duties were with the team. And I remember you saying, yep, that's carryover. Yep, that's carryover. Yes, that's carryover. And so really just providing the service I did to high profile professional athletes in Philadelphia, and not just 76ers. When players from other teams came around, they sought me out. When coaches from other teams came in, they wanted to see me. When some players and coaches from other teams in Philadelphia came through, they wanted to make sure they said hello. I must have been doing something right. So, so to bring that service over to someone looking for real estate, it's the same thing. You have to be available. You have to have knowledge of what you're doing. You have to put them at ease, and there has to be some type of comfort level, and you have to gain their respect and trust.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head, and I do think that availability is a huge thing in our industry. As you know, you've been with us for a few years now, and you're killing it. You're off to a great start. You transition from one world to another, but that availability piece, a lot of agents kind of like forget about that part. Like they get into it for flexibility, but really availability is kind of the key word to me.
Well, I will say, for being on the road for over 20 something years, you are on someone else's time.
Yeah.
And you're not on family time. Even though everyone says family comes first, really the team or the organization came first. Real estate does provide me flexibility I've never had before.
Yeah.
I'm not on someone else's time saying I need to be at the bus at this time, at the plane, in the arena, back and forth, getting home at 2 a.m. and getting up at 6 a.m. to go back to the facility the next day. So the flexibility is there, but you also do have to balance that availability with the flexibility as well.
Yeah. And I think another thing that's great for you, you said sort of the thing that stood out was you kind of grew up in the locker room, so to speak, and that comes through a lot. You're able to kind of joke around, serious when we need to be serious, have fun when we need to have fun. keep things in-house when they need to be kept in-house. That's really important to our clients, right? We're not disclosing things. We owe them confidentiality. And I think that is another one of those skill sets that really, really carry over. And just, in that world, forget about the fact that, hey, they were on a stage and they had this life and they had some notoriety. You're with them, and the relationship building part of being in that locker room, I think, is the biggest thing that kind of carries over. I see that with you and the clients. It's like it clicks sort of immediately. You can, whether they're older or younger, it doesn't matter what their background is. You kind of find a way to click with people right away.
Yeah, I try to find a common ground. A lot of what I do is with real estate and clients is give them my own experiences.
Yeah.
The first house I bought with my wife, we had an FHA loan. I didn't know what an FHA loan was at that time.
Yeah.
Having one, I was not that I'm giving financial advice, but I could tell them not to be afraid of an FHA loan. That I had one myself, and at one point when I had the equity in my house, I thought, well, let me switch over to conventional to get rid of the PMI. Well, what turned out from my lender was, guess what? Stay with the FHA. You're still paying less than conventional. So you just never know how that's going to work out. But, I've been through a new construction home. I bought and sold several homes before I got into real estate. So I had different experiences with different situations that I was able to relate and give, a genuine answer to, and not sound like a used car salesman.
Yeah. That's good. That's always good. It's always good. The one thing I want to ask you that might be a little out there is in our industry, we have to deal with clients. Talked with this with a couple other conversations. Sometimes we're getting them at like a really stressful point in their life, right? Their families are going through a lot. They're growing, they're shrinking, whatever the case may be. They're spending a ton of money. There's a lot of stresses, with clients, and then with the co-op agents on the other side. Sometimes we're dealing with some diva co-ops, right? And that's okay. We can talk about it openly here without naming names. Do you feel like some of the stuff, without maybe naming names, that you dealt with in the previous life with maybe some bigger personalities? To me, that's a thing that I've seen a lot of agents struggle with, and you didn't struggle with it at all when you started. What do you think that really helped you as you made the transition?
Yeah, it did. And I did say this to this athlete not too long ago, that in my mind, I think I've told you this out loud, that every day Allen Iverson was a 76er, I was with him for every day for 10 years, and every day was a negotiation with him.
Yeah.
Sometimes I won, sometimes I lost, but you have to stand your ground, and that's how you gain the respect of anyone in that position. Dealing with agents, dealing with clients. When I deal with clients that are stressed, I tell them, put the stress on me. Let me carry the stress for you.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling, you got a call, you want to vent, call me, text me, whatever, that's fine. Dealing with agents, I'll let them huff and puff. And then when they're ready to settle down and talk, I'll have my say, and I'll say it nicely and calmly.
Yep.
And I'm not going to meet them at that screaming altar. That's not how I do business. But, let the emotion get out.
Yep.
And then once it gets out, and then they calm down, or they have to make their side comments or remarks, I'm a big boy. I got thick skin. Whatever they're going to say has not been said to me already in the locker room.
Yeah.
So, coming from that world definitely prepared me for this world. They would be eaten up alive in the world that I came from.
Yeah.
So, just because you sell houses doesn't make you a big shot. The deal is to really help people achieve their goal in getting the house that they want for the price that they want.
Yeah.
And you're just there to guide them. You're not the star of the show. They're the star. You're there to make it a smooth transaction as possible, and just make them happy. Make them happy with the whole process.
Yeah. Perfectly stated. And I'll touch on I want to bring up one other name, because I know that he was important to you, and I feel like you match this level of service and some of the things that you learned from one of the previous execs, part owner. I mean, I should know this. I'm a huge fan, but Pat Croce had those staples you shared with me at one point about levels of service. I mean, can you talk a little bit about that and how that has kind of come with you along the way?
Sure.
Not just in real estate, in life, right?
They really are. I preach the gospel of Pat Croce, and I tell him when I see him that I've given public talks to sports management classes. I've spoken to a company, an event in Orlando. There was over 500 people there. And the concepts that I used were what Pat came in and what he really wanted us to know, understand, and really dive into. He called it his 10 service commandments. You could call them whatever you want, but servant leadership is what I did.
Mhm.
Servant leadership is what we do now.
Yeah.
And part of it is it's everyday life experiences. I could probably rattle them off for you if you want me to.
Yeah, if you have any, go
Maybe.
ahead. Yeah. I don't want to do pop quiz, but yeah, it would be great for people to hear this stuff.
I'll try to remember them. I'd rather give them in a group talk, but
Yeah.
it's hellos and goodbyes,
Yep.
first names. The next two are my favorite. Listen, listen, listen.
Yeah.
Speak clearly.
Yep.
Have a clean, neat, and fit appearance. You know, Pat is a fitness guy, so I always say I'll take 2 out of 3 on that one.
Yeah, me too, brother.
Be professional, be prompt. You know, don't be late. Be on time.
Yep.
Have fun. Give compliments, and do it now.
Yeah.
And then I usually added a 24-hour rule to that. I gave like an 11 and a 12th commandment. It was basically, if somebody reaches out to you, you got to get back to them in 24 hours. So even if you're going to get back to them to say, "Hey, I got your message, I got your note. I'm going to get to you in a day or two, or just give me some time to find out what you need." But don't leave them hanging, especially if you're there to service them. You know, everybody wants to make sure they're being heard. They want to make sure they have your attention. They want to make sure you're going to answer them when they have a question. And the biggest 24-hour thing is to sleep on it. If you have a big decision to make, this is the biggest purchase most people are going to ever make.
Yep.
If you go to bed and wake up the same way as if when you went to bed on the decision, then that's the right decision.
Yeah.
Just don't make an emotional snap decision and turn around and blame everybody when things go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you do a great job of that even right now. And you started, a few years ago, and everyone who started kind of post-COVID, the market where we are has been basically a seller's market the entire time, either an insane seller's market or a very strong seller's market, let's say. And even when things are moving at breakneck speed, I see you do that with your clients, saying, "Hey, if you need time, take the time. Even if that means we don't get this house, hey, we'll get the next one." Or, hey, even as a seller, if we're stressed by all the offers, let's take some time here. We're not gonna, the world's not gonna end if you need to catch your breath for a minute. And it's really, really good. It's a great level of service.
Thanks.
Yeah. So transitioning from that to this, like, I know probably a little bit of the flexibility, but when you first started looking at, like, all right, shit, what am I going to do now? How did you end up landing on real estate?
I actually wanted to get my real estate license about 10 years ago, and I just never did.
Yeah.
My brother owned his own title company, and I learned a lot just by listening to him and hearing his stories about different closings and things that went wrong, things that went right, mostly about the stuff that they have to go through to get to the closing table, to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
So that always intrigued me too. And it was really his idea. He said, "Hey, why don't you just go get your real estate license?"
Yeah.
And I just was like, you know what? I think I will. And I did it. And as I started getting into it, I met you. We kind of clicked right away. Our first phone call was supposed to be 30 minutes. I think it lasted closer to 90. Our first meeting lasted probably longer than it was supposed to, and our second meeting as well. And I just said to my wife, "This is the team. This is the guy. This is where
we're talkers. What do you want from us?"
Yeah, no, it was great though. But and then when you close the first couple deals, you start getting the itch, like, okay, I can do this. It was the contract, the relationship part didn't bother me, because that's what I think I built my reputation on in sports and now in this business, is cultivating relationships. It was the contract work and the paperwork that intimidated me. And once I did my first couple deals, it doesn't intimidate me anymore, obviously.
Right. Yeah. It's that I think that's for every agent too. But you, like you said, you had a little bit of a leg up. You'd been through the process as a buyer and seller a number of times. So that is a huge help, because you've experienced it enough from the consumer side to know. And then two, relationship, you're just like easygoing way about you. So it's not, you weren't worried about that. You weren't like, oh my God, I'm going to meet a stranger. Like, yeah, so what? Like that's it. You kind of over the years, you've had people coming and going out of locker rooms that you've had to build fast relationships with, and then kind of have to, hey, here comes the new guy. Got to meet him and get him up to speed too. So that was an easy carryover skill for you for sure. Yeah. When you think, so you mentioned like the first couple deals going, is there anyone that particularly stands out to you, maybe in that first year that you had, whether it was a buyer or seller, an easy one or a hard one, where it just clicked for you? No, I'm
There,
putting on
there
your
was,
spot.
I mean, one of the first ones I'm trying to think,
Mhm.
one of the first ones was actually an estate sale. Oh,
That's right. Yeah.
you'll remember this. I had to borrow your lockbox, and then it was missing the second day it
Oh
was on
yeah,
the market.
somebody's dollar lockbox. Yeah.
So many people wanted to see this house, and the lockbox was just gone. I got a phone call from someone going to tour it. It was a going
Yeah.
show. The house is vacant, and they said, "Scott, the lockbox isn't here." So I had to have someone from the estate sale, the next of kin. They brought their own lockbox to me because they had one themselves,
Yeah.
and so we put that on. There were so many showings, and there was lots of offers coming in that the people that were selling the house, the executors of the estate, they were just like, just give us the best offer. Like we don't even want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it lasted like not even 3 days. And so
Yeah.
we shut it down really, really fast. There was a couple that were kind of difficult. I think the people were more difficult than the deal was. And
Yeah.
I think that was one where you kind of stepped in and said, all right, let me handle this one. Uh, there was one where the buyer who I love and wound up doing multiple transactions with this person was a Zillow lead.
Mhm.
They called me on a Tuesday, I believe. On Wednesday or Thursday, we saw the property, and on Saturday, we were under contract.
Nice.
And I actually was able to cancel an open house the next day. Got it for them for 50,000 under asking. But what happened was we started the title process. He hit a button. He did some online pre-approval. Didn't go through any of our people at the time. And during that process, it said hit this button and save $4,000 on closing costs. So
Yeah.
normally it's going to hit the button, but what that did was just set off a firestorm of incompetency from the title people, whoever the online people were using. We basically delayed the closing, but since our people started, I was able to get them re-engaged.
Yeah.
And they came in, and Megan swooped in and saved the day. So we delayed closing, let's say, for a weekend.
Yeah.
But it just was really not good going back and forth with the people that ran that online title company. But we got it closed, and we kept everything calm. They stayed calm. The agents that represented the seller said, "We will work with you anytime we see your name pop up on a deal."
Yeah.
And that was one of my first few transactions. So to get a compliment like that from them meant something to me.
Yeah. And you touched on it a little bit. I mean, I think maybe share a little bit about the importance of uh, when you're a buyer, but also from the seller side too. But when you're a buyer, the importance of like having a team of people involved in the process, mortgage, title, insurance, that are working for you and available for you. And you've experienced it both ways. Our people are great. There's other great people out there, but like just the difference in level of service, like how important that is when you're meeting new buyers, kind of some things you tell them to let them know that.
Yeah, I tell them there's a whole team behind the team. Like, I'm the face they're going to interact with the most. I'm the quarterback of the deal.
Yep.
I actually told this to a lender the other day who's out of Connecticut for some buyers that just had to use these people.
Mm.
So he's not used to a lot of Pennsylvania deals.
Yeah.
And I just said, look, the agent is the quarterback of the deal. But I tell them there's a whole team. And if you work with the people that normally work together, things will go a lot smoother. Everybody knows each other. They've done hundreds of deals together for the best experience. And it's not like, hey, use my guy because he's my guy.
Right.
These are the people we're used to working with. So we're all part of the team. They just see and meet and interface with me, the agent, first.
Yeah.
So really have to gain their trust and to say, hey, these are who I recommend. If there's someone else that you want to use, go right ahead. Give them my information. We will work well together. I'll make sure of that.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how much people really know the actual process of what goes on to buy a house and all the workings behind the scenes.
Yeah. And I think it's important that when buyers, especially you said, click on a button to save $4,000. All right, well, okay, that sounds great. But even just in more like the mortgage process alone, if you have guys that are out of state, they don't know about local fees, transfer taxes, different school tax bills, whatever. Sometimes they just have a certain percentage they're estimating your taxes off of, and then you get crushed, and you're too far into the process. You're too deep to change as a buyer, and we're kind of all in bed together at that point, and it does make for what is a stressful process anyway. It adds an extra layer to it that if I just think if more buyers would kind of just trust the process, so to speak, would they'd be a little happier with the end result when they get to the finish line.
At least with this process, yeah.
Yeah, with this process, not the other one. Not the other one. Cool. Do you, we're bouncing around a bit, but when you think about, you mentioned a couple transactions and that was great. Is there like a particular client, forget about the money. Again, we want to sell $10 million houses to everybody. Where you get like a little bit more personal satisfaction out of helping them? Because you've had a couple great stories where you really helped people out that were in a bind, or they went, some people that went through some tough tragedies that you really helped out. Any of those like stick out to you where it's like, man, that just feels great that I was able to help them in that situation?
Yeah, there was actually coming up on the anniversary of that sale. It was a Zillow lead. She's turned into a really good friend. Her
Yeah.
Her husband, but her husband, it was a high profile case, was killed on the job at work. And she became a young widow with children.
Yeah.
Who became fatherless. So, the grandparents stepped in, she stepped up, and she really wanted to buy a house for her forever home for her and her kids to grow up in. It took us a little while of searching, but we sat. We talked a couple times on the phone. First, she wanted new construction, so I wanted to walk her through what new construction really was. Like, don't just look at that price as the price. That's just the starting price. So we went through all of that. I set her up on a search, and then I kind of reached out to her one day to follow up and asked her if she just wanted to get lunch or coffee and meet me. Right. And she's like, "Yeah, that'd be a great idea." And she brought her mother with her, and I said, "You pick the place," and we sat down. We talked. She asked me all kinds of questions. Her mother asked me all kinds of questions. And before she left, she says, "Where do I sign? I want to work with you."
Yeah.
And so that was the first step. Then was the house hunting step. And then was, this is my opinion. This is this is that. When she saw the house that she's in, she went to an open house, and actually the other agent that ran it, one member on her team, asked if she had an agent and asked if she was happy with that agent. And she was really upset that she was asked that question. Yeah. We went the next day to the open house together, and she's like, "This is the house. I have to have this house."
Yeah.
So by Monday or Tuesday, after that was a Sunday, by I would say 24 to 48 hours later, we were under contract. And within a month after that, if not less, because it was a cash deal, that we got the house, and it was a good day.
Yeah.
It was a fun day. It was a good day. It was a celebratory day. There was, on their side, there was, laughter, tears, but just joy and relief and a lot of emotions.
Yeah. Got her family in a much better spot. I do remember all the details of that one, and that was a A++ job by you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome. So we're talking a little bit about buyers. Let's go in. We ask every team member this. What are some tips you like to give to buyers when you first meet them? They're getting started.
They're never going to find the perfect house.
Yep.
I warn them of that. I give them my 80-10-10 rule.
What's the 80-10-10 rule?
80% of the house you love, 10% you could change, and 10% you can live with.
Yep.
If the house checks off those boxes, then the house is talking to you. Then you're closer. You found the house that you want. So that's kind of what we go in with. Like, this is our mindset. Marry the property, date the rate. Everyone uses that. Everyone says that. Yeah. When people say they want to wait for the rates to go down, I'm like, if you know when they're going to go down, get your real estate license.
Yeah.
And you tell everybody when they're going to go down. You go make $10 million doing this.
Right.
You know a lot more than we do, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody said to me that his colleague told him the rates were going to go down. I asked him what his colleague did for a living. He said he's a scientist. I said, okay. I said, I'm not going to tell you when the next FDA approved thing is coming out,
Yeah.
And he looked at me and said, okay, you're right. You have to be straight with people. You have to talk to them like
Right.
they're your family too sometimes, or a friend you grew up with, because you get that respect from them. You give it to them straight.
Yeah.
So really it's the 80-10-10 I go over with. You're never going to find a perfect house.
Yeah.
And people that are looking in that $1 million price tag need to understand that $1 million homes now aren't what they were 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do some work to them.
Yeah.
But that's, I always tell them, get your pre-approval. Let's not work backwards.
Yeah.
I'm happy to go out and meet with you, even if you don't have pre-approval, but I'm not going to show you too many houses and wait for you to get it, because we're going to lose a lot until we do. It's the most important thing, really.
Yeah, especially at the speed of which our market's moving for a lot of houses. If there's a great house and you fall in love that first weekend and you don't have your ducks in a row, you're just gonna miss it. You're not in a position to put an offer in. Yeah,
and that's what I tell them. That's the part I think they don't understand, because a lot of people ask, well, what about my deposit? I'm like, that's between you and your lender. You have to have pre-approval, because I can't even submit an offer without some type of proof that you could pay for this house.
Right.
And the light bulb kind of goes off at that point. So they may take a few days until they get back to you, but at least some of them tell me, yeah, I'm working on my pre-approval right now. So
do you think that's the biggest mistake that a lot of buyers make, or is there something else that like, hey, there's one thing that you've seen over the years here where, a couple buyers have fallen in this, and it's really kind of cost them either an opportunity or cost them some money?
Yeah, I think it's a mistake because they feel if they have money for a deposit, they can automatically get a house.
Yeah.
I've had one person say, well, I have cash. I'm like, that's great. Like, how much do you have enough cash to buy the house? They said, oh, no, I have 20%. I said, well, where are you giving the 20% to? Because she was just so adamant that she knew everything. So I was finally like, okay, you're going to preach to me what I'm doing for a living. Who are you giving the 20% to? I said, you give it to the lender. This is how it works. So I broke it all down, and she just had to sit down for a second and take it all in.
Yeah.
So because you have the money for a deposit doesn't mean you have the money to buy a house.
Yeah.
People don't understand about debt to income ratio.
Yeah.
People don't understand that after they get a loan approved, that they shouldn't open up a credit card or get a loan.
Yeah.
I've had that happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so we had to delay closing just a few hours, but the guy knew he had to fix the house up, so he went and got a Home Depot card before he closed on the house.
It's happened. It's real things.
I can't make them up. I really can't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those are great tips for buyers. How about the flip side? How about for sellers when you're walking in to meet a seller for the first time about getting their house ready for the market?
So, I mean, everyone knows declutter. I usually say 5 to 10 bags of trash on trash day, whether it's something you're going to throw out or donate, or even if it's something you think you're going to sell, put it in a trash bag and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm a big Shark Tank guy, so I use a Shark Tank reference for when people are getting ready to sell the house. There's a guy that walked in that proclaimed that he was a deal closer and was selling an educational package on closing deals. And I'm just going to estimate, or, whatever the money and the percentage was, let's just say $200,000 for 20% of his company. Yeah. So Mark Cuban right away offered him $200,000 for 20% of his company. And the guy turned around and said, oh, I want to ask the other sharks what they think. Cuban goes, I'm out.
Yeah. And
the guy, shocked, looked at Cuban. He goes, I knew you're a fraud as soon as you walked in. You say you teach people how to close deals. You came in and asked for $200,000 at 20%. I offered you exactly what you asked for, and you didn't take it. Yeah. That's not closing a deal.
Yep.
So if you're asking for X amount of dollars for your house, and you hope the terms are great with no inspections and this, that, the other, we don't know what the terms are going to look like. If you get the deal you're asking for, don't hold out for other deals to come in. That's what you're asking for. If you get it, take it.
Yeah.
And that I give everyone the same story.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks their house is going to get a bidding war. Everyone thinks they're going to get $50,000 plus over asking. It just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Yeah, that's a good one. How about for like pricing? Because you've had, a number of listings over the years. We've had some where it's been like that bloodbath first weekend where we get the multiple bids and waiving inspections and appraisal coverage and all that. But a couple others where like by design, sometimes with sellers, hey, like I really want to push the price here a little bit. We make the relationship with them. How do you handle those conversations around that pricing front, both upfront with sellers, and then if it's sitting for a little bit, what are some of the things that you tell sellers to kind of?
So yeah, well, to piggyback on the other seller thing is I'm always pushing for a pre-listing inspection.
Oh yeah.
Get your, if you can, or if you want to, get your house inspected first, as if you were a buyer.
Yeah.
Because if something major is going to pop up, we'll know now, and we can address it.
Yep.
And we can disclose it. And if it's all minor stuff, we know it. We'll disclose it. We don't have to choose to address it. If somebody else thinks they could do a better job, great. So I wanted to make sure I.
Yeah. No, that's a great one. Yeah. Pre-listing inspections for sure.
As far as pricing goes, I try to, especially if there was a few houses in the area that recently closed, and this house that we're looking at is in really good shape, maybe some updates, kind of start where the other houses ended at and kind of go from there. I've had some people where I wanted to list a house at a certain number, wanted to go higher. And I suggested that this is not the way to go, but you're driving the ship. I'm giving you the advice. I'm telling you which way we should go. I'm your navigational map, but you're the one that's doing the actual driving. So if you want me to list it for higher, I'll list it for higher. However, I'll tell them if the market is telling us we need to go lower, then we're going to go lower. We're not going to wait too long. We're not going to let it sit.
Yeah.
I just recently had a house that lasted 5 days on the market. I wanted to price it at around $370. We were all good until the night before, and he wanted to go up another $10,000. We didn't have that many showings. We had 3 showings and 2 offers. We took a nice cash offer for a little bit less than $370, but everything was clean. The terms were there, and it was part of a home contingency deal, which they don't get accepted that much these days.
Yeah.
So I told him, I said, listen, let's come from the mentality of $370. We're taking just a little bit less, but the end game is to get the other home.
Yeah.
And we have a deal that we should take. And he said he'll take it. But I did tell him, we're under a time crunch. Yep. So I'm going to let this go 1 weekend at $380, and then I'm going to drop the price.
Yeah.
So that was our agreement. With other people want to list it high. They want to have that wiggle room to come down. Yeah. So I say, okay, if you want to go higher, I don't need to know this. When I'm talking to another agent, I don't want to know what your magic number is. So we'll negotiate. You know where you want to land the ship at. That's where we'll land. That's where we're landed at. But give yourself that room, and don't get mad if we have to keep lowering it. If the market's telling us we're getting lower offers or we're not getting showings, any action, that tells us that we're priced too high.
Yeah. I think that's where all that communication, like all that easy communication you have, you're not afraid to have those conversations with sellers, and also like we're in it together, right? When you're hiring us as agents and you're a seller, like when we have listings, like we're fronting a ton of money and marketing costs and everything else and time and all that stuff. Everybody wants the house to sell for $1 billion. Again. Sure. So we're all aligned there. It's just about having those conversations up front. I think where agents get stuck is they're nervous to bring it up, or they go in and they buy the listing and like they know the place is worth $500, but they're telling them they can get $550.
You can't be afraid to tell someone the truth. Yeah. And if you lose out to other agents because you told them the truth, then great. Yeah. You know what? They'll look back and say that other guy came in and told me my house is worth $100,000 less than what I wanted to list it for, and it went for what he told me it went for.
Yeah.
If somebody's hiring me to tell them what they want to hear, then I'm not the agent for them.
Right. Yeah. You give honest, straight advice every time.
I think that's the key. If you can't bullshit people.
Right. No, you can't. It comes through. And in our industry, there's a lot of it, unfortunately. But I think that was sort of a cheat code for you, kind of having like some early success, is like, hey, if I can just be a straight shooter and have conversations with people, that I'm already kind of 50% ahead of the field.
And also have to be that way with the other agent. With the agent on the
100%.
And I tell people straight up, especially when I'm representing the seller, I'm like, look, I'm not playing games. I'm not here to do this or do that.
So,
Let's have an open and honest conversation. Maybe too transparent, but we're all here to try to get a deal for our people.
yeah.
They want to get the best deal for their client. I want to get the best deal for mine. But at the end of the day, we want a smooth transaction and an easy process.
Yeah. That's good. We talked a little bit about agents. How about a piece of advice for a newer agent, right? You're seasoned now. You got the battle scars, you have the wins, you have a couple losses in there. For a newbie, what's some advice you'd give?
I'm going to go back to my background. I think you and we talked about this story before. If you walk into the San Antonio Spurs practice facility in a big shadow box, there's a pick and a stone that's like cut into two.
Okay.
And the story underneath it is it took 1,000 strokes to break the stone, but it wasn't the guy that hit the stone on the 1,000th stroke. It was the 999 other strokes that got the stone to split. Basically, keep coming in, keep preparing, go about your business. It's a grind every day. Just do what you're supposed to do the little things, show up to the meetings, just pick people's brains. I came in your office, any agent that came in on the team, I would just pick their brain. It probably was like, oh God, Scott's here. He's going to ask me a ton of questions.
Get the hell out of here.
I got a lot of great answers and information and tips. That's the thing. Don't be yourself. Number one.
Yeah.
The people are buying into you before they buy a house.
Yep.
So not that you need to make everyone like you. Everyone's not going to like you, but you have to make sure that you're the right fit for them and they're the right fit for you as a client. But as a new agent, you just have to, keep doing the business, know the business of the business you're in, and keep practicing the same practices every day.
Yeah. Is there one thing that you wish you knew in that first, let's say, 3 months or 6 months that you know now that stands out to you? It's a tough question.
That's a tough question. Probably like I said, the contracts intimidated me. Or probably that it would take so long to get your first deal. You don't rely on your friends and family. Don't rely on your network to come right in and say, hey, I want to trust you with the biggest money decision I'm ever going to make, right?
Yeah.
What do you know? And that's the thing. You're going to see friends and family that they're going to cheer you on social media and tell you're doing great and this, that, the other. And then they're going to give their house to another agent, or they're going to give their parents' house to another agent to sell because they may have had a relationship with that person before you even got your license. So can't take everything personally. I think that's one thing. You can't take it personally. Yeah. I think the one thing I wish I knew then that I know now is to come into the office more.
Yeah.
We were a different place back then. It was a little bit further out. Then my schedule wasn't as flexible at the time to really come in more. I think just coming in more, hanging out more, being around more, try to take open houses, try to take showings, see where you could help out other agents, tag along, go to an open house with an agent.
Yeah.
Just, find a mentor and just let them, guide you.
Yeah. It is a bit of a cheat code when you're first starting out, I think. And you've witnessed us on our team. You kind of did it a little bit early. You've used it with some other people on the team to your advantage. It is a cheat code to get yourself kind of ramped up when you are a newer agent, because if you're showing houses, you're helping out a team member, even if you're not on a team, you're a solo agent, you're just kind of, you have a buddy system in the office or something like that. Somebody else has the relationship. But Scott's client, he has the relationship locked up, and I'm just starting. Well, I don't have to worry about, do I win the relationship? It gets me more comfortable talking about the homes, talking about the neighborhood, talking about the comps, talking about the market data, and that all that stuff. If you lean into it, and that a lot of that is just being in the office. You get those relationships with other agents. If you lean into that, it is like a cheat code to kind of get your career kind of take off like a rocket ship.
Yeah, Brett Brown always say, "Let the good days add up." Yeah, good days add up, and you have more good days than bad days. You'll be successful.
Yeah. It's good advice. good advice. But we talked about like a couple things from the field and different wins, different losses. You talked about good win. Is there a tough deal that sticks out to you at all? that was like, oh man, that you got it to the finish line, but it was a really, really big challenge? Maybe just lender stuff.
I'm going through one right now.
You going through one right now? Yeah. With an original mentor of mine on the
Yes, with your mentor. He likes to get his comments in, and I let him get his comments in, and then he's like, "Yeah, we're good. We're good. I know it's not your fault."
Yeah.
Just buyers have to do their job too. We all have a job to do, right?
Yeah.
Like I have my job to do and representing the client and getting them the house they want at the price they want.
Yeah.
The other agent has their job. The lender has their job. The title is their. But the buyer and the sellers have their job too. They have to get their documents signed in on time. Whether it's me, whether it's their loan officer, everyone has to perform in this.
Yeah.
And when someone's lagging behind or taking their time, it holds the process up.
Yep.
So the one I'm in now, buyers have not exactly been on time with getting things in, and people that have prepared their taxes and whatnot, or their accountant work has not been as responsive as we need him to be to the loan officer, which has caused a delay in closing.
Yeah.
So this one has not gone as smooth, but we'll get there.
Yeah. We will. That's actually a really good example, and it's a really good lesson. Like everyone has a role to play. Like just be a star in your role. Like if you have to go there, I mean, I tell buyers all the time, doesn't matter if you're going with one of our guys or on your own or through your bank. When you're going through the mortgage process, you're going to be asked for documentation that you already provided to somebody. It's just at some point it gets passed down, and here's a processor, then here's an underwriter, and maybe they don't see it kind of top of mind or top of the pile, and you're going to have to send that bank statement again or that pay stub again. Just send it. Like don't delay. Don't assume they have it. Just send it. Keep it moving. Keep the train running on time.
That's it. Yeah. I'm gonna keep the train on time kind of guy.
Yeah. That works out best for everyone involved. You, Scott, since you joined our team, you're a great friend, man. I love you to death. But since you joined our team, you've become like a personality on the team. You know our group. Everyone loves you. Is there anything that you can say that you? I'm not looking for any ass kissing here, by the way. But about like love, like that you love about being on the team, or that like was super helpful for you. Maybe even the beginning that you didn't even realize then, but maybe you do now.
It's a great bunch of people. The funny thing is, like, we all get these calls. Hey, would you like a better opportunity here or there? And right away, I'm like, no, I love where I'm at. Like, why would I leave this team? It's, I've been on many teams. I worked on many behind the scenes teams. I could say without a doubt, this is the best group of team I've been on. You don't have to worry about backstabbing or talking or stealing clients. Everyone's there to help each other out. Yeah. I really felt a sense of people wanted to see me do well. I was the new kid on the block. Now we have a couple other new kids on the block. We all want to see him do well.
Yeah.
We want to see our other younger agents do well and get more deals. Even some of the people that came in with me, we want to see them start to take off. Yeah. And I've been asked questions by them, and I'm happy to share my limited knowledge, of what I did, or how it just, happened for me. Again, being available, learning, going to the open houses, learning to talk about homes to people with confidence. I think the biggest change, for me with this team, it really gave me the confidence. You told me before, he goes, you walked in first couple of days, he goes, and then you just saw my confidence rise with each transaction, with each, year under my belt. It's just a great group of people. Like, I enjoy coming into the office. I'm hoping I see people when I'm in there. When you're in there and sometimes you're the only one, it's like, is someone going to walk in from the team? It's just, there's no bad people. They're just a good bunch of people. I look forward to our group events. I look forward to our team dinners. We have a team lunch on the calendar.
Yeah.
When
Tony said when we first met, what did I say? No assholes.
When we first met, no assholes. And then when
Tony corrected it.
He lied to you. That's all we are.
Our own kind of assholes. But no, it is a good group, and I do feel like just the way that it has kind of been built, some of that by design, some of it a little bit more kind of organically, but we're now at a point where we're going to be like very protective of that. If we look to add any pieces here or there, we're going to make sure it's the vibes check out first, and then from there we'll start worrying about the money second. Because it is good. It is good, especially in that back office where we're at.
We're you know what? We're a loud bunch. There's a lot of stuff. I remember we were first in that office, and some of the agents would come and shut our door.
Yeah,
we were making too much noise, but we produce.
That's right.
We're there for our clients, and we produce for them, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah. And we're allowed to be loud. It's okay.
Yeah.
We are. All right, before we wrap up, a couple more personal questions for you, man. Like you bounced around a little bit living. You've been all over the place, obviously traveling in your previous life. How about a couple things about your family? I mean, I know your family really well and what they're into, but a little about kind of what you have going on in your family life, and then some things you like to do outside of that, and then maybe some local hot spots that you like to hit restaurant wise, things like that.
Well, my kids are just turned 9 and 6 last week. Yeah. The third week of April into the first week of May is busy time. It's their birthdays. My wife's birthday is coming up, and then we have Mother's Day after that. So the focus has really been on that, parties and everything else. My kids are, as everyone, they're awesome. And again, if I was doing what I did before, I would not have the relationship I have now with both my kids, especially my daughter and my son too. Yeah. He's very talented. He's got the theater gene.
Yeah.
My wife was a performer.
Still is, right?
Yeah, she still is. She did the shows that traveled around the country. She lived in New York for a year or two and did the Broadway life for a little bit. She teaches at Anchele. Sump Academy. She directs their spring show. She does private voice lessons. She sings masses, weddings, and funerals at different churches around the city and the area. Yeah. She used to put on a Christmas show that everyone in this area would go to. In fact, she did a Christmas concert one year at the old Brownies, Ardmore Music Hall, I think.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And remember the guy, Uncle Cracker?
Yeah.
Yeah, she sold more tickets than he did.
Right. Yeah.
I love being a family guy. I laugh when you say, "Tell me about some hot spots." It's like my back
20 years ago, you have all the hot spots. No, but you and I share. We both love going to a great restaurant, love a great meal.
No, I've always been a foodie. Trissini's local spot around here, I love.
Yep, one of our favorites.
There's one I heard about that we're going to next week called Mary. It's a BYO and Ambler.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
I heard that's great. I'm looking forward to trying that out. And if you go into the city and want a good steak 48, I don't think there's a better spot. Barclay Prime is what it is, but steak 48 is really good.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, listen, I'm going to make sure all of your contact information's in the show notes and people can connect with you. Just one last thing. Anyone who wants an elevator pitch of what it's like to work with you as an agent, what are you telling them in less than 90 seconds?
You're going to get it straight. I may not tell you what you want to hear, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Yeah. I'm going to have your back. I am easygoing, but I will fight for you. So don't take my niceness as a weakness.
Yeah.
I'll bite someone else's head off, but you won't know about it.
Yeah. And I'm gonna share one thing. I'm not gonna name the person, but we did have an opportunity since you joined the team. We've helped a couple people from your past professional life that were front office people and coaches and players and whatever. And one guy shared with me when I got to meet him. He said, Don't you just love Scott? And I said, yeah, man, he's great. And he said, he just gives a shit, man. And that is so simple, but it's so beautiful at the same time.
I wish I could make that my tagline. I just give a shit.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well,
I do. You know what? If I could, I wind up caring about everyone that I work with.
Yes. Yeah. Amen. All right, dude. Well, listen, thank you for taking the time out, sit down and do this. It was great. Obviously I'll see you in the office and I really appreciate it. And anyone out there looking for a great agent, whether it's on the buy side or the sell side, Scott's the man. He'll take care of you. So to reach out to him if you have any questions. See ya.
You got it.
Thanks for checking out Know Your People. If you enjoyed this episode, do us a favor. Follow or subscribe on your favorite platform. Leave a quick rating and tell a friend to check us out. You You can find us on social media at Bob Kelley Team across all platforms. And if you want to connect with our team or today's guest, the info is in the description below. Go show some love.